Yeah. And we're saying, why didn't you contact us? She said it was I know, but we need to come down here then, so 10:30, perfect. Thank you. And nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you guys. I now call this regular meeting of Board of Education to order at 7 p.m. Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Present.
Mr. Schubert? Ms. McCall?
Present.
Ms. Bennett?
Present.
Mr. Carpenter?
Present.
Ms. Haley?
Here.
Ms. Stanford?
Here.
With 6 present, 1 absent, we have a quorum.
We will now take a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We start each meeting with our mission statement. The mission of Rockford Public Schools is to collaboratively engage all students in a first-class education for a changing world. It also bears reminding that the Rockford Public Schools equity vision is to create learning environment that works for all students and interrupt the predictability of student outcomes based on zip code. I want to thank Ms. Kim Patterson for her work of behind the scene, producing our board, broadcasting via YouTube live stream, and Comcast Channel 20. We are now at the petition and communication portion of our meeting. When we invite the public to make comments, the board will not respond to comments at this time. If it is appropriate, you will be contacted in a timely manner by staff. Each speaker will be allowed no more than 2 minutes to address the board. It is not appropriate to address individual board members or individual administrators or discuss matters that would otherwise be confidential in such open meetings. If you look to your left, you will see a 2-digit clock. One shows the total time allotted to public comments, and the other shows the total time for each speaker. We thank you for your interest and for your cooperation with these guidelines. The first speaker is Mr. Ricky Naylor, followed by Mr. Bradley.
Make sure it's on. Okay, glad to be here tonight. You know, I've been told by certain prominent people in this community, they say, you know what, they said, leave the administrators alone. They said, you guys need to go straight at that board. So that's what I'm going to talk tonight about, the board. Since you guys have been elected, you have not made any significant changes in leadership of the school district. You keep it pretty much staying pat. It's just like you guys don't understand what your top job is to make sure these kids are successful in those classrooms and not keeping these administrators in these jobs. It seemed like y'all forgot that. Now, some people in the community they even said, like, you know what? We don't care if those guys are new anymore. They said because they should have done their homework before they ran for a seat. They should have done their homework and looked at the district, what condition it was in, and said, look, once I get up in there, these are the changes I'm going to make. But so far, it's been a status quo board. You know, you come in doing the same thing these boards been doing for years, taking direction from the administration instead of giving direction. If these guys knew what they was doing, this district would not be in the shape it's in right now. So you need to think about that. So what are we here for? Are we here to take direction from this administration? Are we here to provide guidance and support to these guys? If they can't do it, bring somebody else in. Now, Dr. Morgan here, there's people that are ready to support this guy, but this guy needs some help. Like we was just talking. When he go in those schools, he need a team of guys with him. When he go in those horrible schools where those kids acting a fool, say, look, get over there and sit down. Hey, open your book up to this page. Stop this nonsense out. He don't have that support here. He goes in there, these kids off the walls. The teachers, they can't control the kids because you won't get this guy a team. Where the team at? So think about spending some of that money on getting this guy a team. You'd be surprised how it impacts when somebody walk in there and he got a full posse with him than just walking in by himself.
Have a good evening, Mr. Naylor.
Good evening, school board members. Dr. Reed, I just left him. I'm going to the meeting Eliminating Racism, and Dr. Reed is on a mission. I appreciate him, and Earl Dodson Jr. too. Tomorrow we going to have our third meeting with Dr. Reed. We had the Nation of Islam to show up. We had the NAACP president there. We had Eliminating Racism there. We had 3 directors from 3 different centers there. We also had over several different ministers there. What we talking about doing, this is bigger than Renewal Turning Point. If each church was to take 20 of our at-risk youth and what have you, we could eliminate crime and the poverty and crime by 20%. Just to go real quick, we're looking at absenteeism, suspension, bullying, social promotion in the school. Coming tomorrow, Dr. Reed, at our last meeting when we met, he asked that we bring a list of people that we know. Guess what? I got over 20 people that's ready to cut hair and ready to braid hair. So when the kids go back to school, they don't have to, worried about their haircut or how they looking. And so we're gonna work on that. I don't know what the school board, what the criteria are for them to be able to come into school to do the braid hair or cut hair, but that's gonna be a great thing. Come Thursday, we taking the kids to Alpine Pool. This will be our 5th time going. Come on August the 9th, we got 2 school buses going to the Cyber Museum. When we leave the Cyber Museum, we going to the Rainbow. I ain't been to the Rainbow Beach since 1974. Was my senior year in high school. So it's going to be great. I got my frat brothers that's going to meet us there. Then from there, we are going to Magic Waters. Mind you, a lot of people we taking to Chicago never been to the Rainbow Beach, or they don't even know who DeSable is. And so everything that we doing, instead of talking about what the school not doing or what they should be doing, my time is up already. Let me go to 3 minutes.
Item 3A is the RFQ 23-56 to contract with the planning consultant for the facilities master plan. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Item 3B is a memorandum of understanding with Black Hawk Tech College. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Item 4A is a revised schedule for the regular Board of Education meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Item 4B is a revision to Board Policy 2.230, increasing each public speaker's time to address the board from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Item 4C is a proposed change to the mission statement. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
5 through 7, consent agenda, Performance and Planning Governance Committee. We are now on to the consent portion of our meeting, which includes items reviewed by the board committee chairs during the committee of the whole. May I have a motion and a second to approve the items listed under paragraphs 5, 6, and 7 of the agenda, Performance, Planning, and Governance Committee?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items that the board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
We are now at the closed session consent agenda, including closed session consent items. A, appointment of Nikisha Johnson as 10-month elementary principal assigned to Bloom. Appointment of Prentice Regland as 10-month middle school dean assigned to West NIU principal cohort 2025. Appointment of Andrew Wimberly as 10-month elementary dean assigned to Ellis NIU cohort 25. Appointment of Aaliyah, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, Pezkowski as 12-month principal K-5 assigned to Johnson Elementary School. HR report and addendum. Closed session consent items, student discipline, suspension, appeals, and expulsion. B0034X-23 is expelled for,
It should be through.
yes, through the first semester of of the 23-24 school year, D0023X-23, H0159X-23, H0162X-23, P0191X-23, and P0192X-23 are expelled through the entire year 23-24 school year. As to H0157X-23, H0161X-23, and X0163-23, the expulsions are held in advance, contingent upon expulsion and expulsion and advance agreement through the entire 23-24 school year and the first semester of 24-25 school year, which can be terminated early with the successful completion of the refresh program. The expulsion of H0158X-23 is held in advance contingent upon expulsion and advance agreement through the entire 23-24 year. Closed session consent item, student discipline EIAs are set forth as agenda item 10A through 10Y. Is there a motion and a second to approve closed session consent items?
So moved. Second.
Are there any closed session consent items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Mr. Carpenter?
I'd ask to pull 10Y P0190-23.
EIA, 10Y.
Yeah, right here. Okay. Are there any other consent items that board members wish to have pulled? So 10Y have been pulled. Please call. May I have a motion and a second?
You already have that, so.
Yes. I got thrown off there. My apologies. Please call the roll on the approval of the closed session consent items not pulled.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 absent.
Now, closed session item 10Y have been pulled for separate consideration. Do I have a motion and a second to approve this item?
So moved. Second.
Please call the roll on the approval of closed session consent item 10Y.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
No.
Mr. Carpenter?
No.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
No.
The item does not pass.
Next on the agenda is superintendent's report.
Thank you, Board President Pearson. Just a couple brief comments. First, in the second row here, I want to acknowledge our new union president, Claudia Marshall, and Vice President Christine Nash. I want to welcome them and appreciate you coming out tonight. And I know many of the board members have had a chance to meet our new union president and vice president, but I wanted to make sure their presence was acknowledged. We look forward to working with you. In addition, I also wanted to just give a quick shout out again to our board for those of you that had time in your schedule to swim swing on out to support the Golden Apple Foundation. We had a wonderful board turnout, and as a rule, this board has done a tremendous job of showing up at so many different public events, and really, really thankful and grateful that you have found time in your busy schedule to do that. And we had another great turnout of board and community to support a good cause. We were able to win the tip jar competition against the Hananiga School District and their feeders by a couple $100. So all in the name of good fun and charity, but we had a wonderful turnout, and thankful for those who were able to make it. Finally, just on a very high level, I wanted to let the board know that I'll be working with each of you individually, and then we will collectively come together on a superintendent target for the 23-24 school year. I asked my cabinet members to come up with a core area of focus, and over the last 4 years, the board and I have come together on a topic or an area of focus. What I'm going to be proposing as a starting point for the conversation will be a target based on improving our student attendance and specifically chronic truancy. So I look forward to that conversation with each and every board member, and then hope to come back forward and build consensus with you as a group if that's the right direction. We have made some significant progress post-pandemic on improving chronic truancy, but we still have a long way to go to even get where we were at pre-pandemic levels. This is a really important topic to me, and it's also something I believe that our entire cabinet can contribute to, which means we can find a way to get our whole district involved. And I really believe that this is a true issue of equity. Our students who are most vulnerable suffer most when they are unable to be in school, and this is an all-hands-on-deck kind of approach here to see our chronic truancy rates increase. So certainly going to be the starting point of the conversation, but if you have other thoughts or ideas about what my primary focus should be, again, this does not replace our universal goals around graduation rate, freshmen on track, 8th grade on track, and 3rd grade reading improving. Those are built into the contract and things we're, of course, committed to, but I do believe that if we can improve chronic truancy rates, that will help us in all 4 of those areas. But I look forward to having that conversation with each and every one of you and with the board collectively. And that concludes my time, Board President Pearson. Thank you.
You are welcome, Dr. Jarrett. Now we are on the last agenda correction. Next on the agenda, opportunity for comments of board members. Are there any board member comments? Mrs. Bennett?
I appreciate Dr. Jarrett giving us a shout out. That's very nice. But I just want to give a shout out to administration over the past month, just the quick responses that we've received, just loads of information that have been provided to us, the extra support that have been provided, individuals taking time out of their schedule to meet with us. I just truly, truly appreciate it. I know it's summer and people, have vacations and things that matter to them, and I just appreciate it very much. So.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to thank the board for supporting the fundraiser event, going out and support. I would like to just share some feedback that I've received from the community members, several community members, appreciating the new board and their efforts, and how they're responding to concerns and complaints, and just working, to get things done. In general, just as a friendly reminder, not everyone understand organizational charts, chain of command, and the role of a board member. So just as a friendly reminder to our public, the board have 2 employees, and that is Dr. Aaron Jarrett and Attorney Lori Holley. Any superintendent in any district have the right to build his or her team. So just for public information, that is how the school district works. And there will be more to come, and we do what we are supposed to do where it relates to the leadership of the administration. I, as a board president, address matters to board members regarding the board. And the board holds Dr. Jarrett accountable for what have been named in his contract. Thank you very much. And before I go any further, I want to acknowledge, and I hope I have her name correctly, but there is a teacher that teaches at Whitehead, Miss Katie Gilg, who received her master's degree in 3 months. And I thought that was absolutely worth acknowledging. So she is very committed to education, and she is a single mom with 2 children, and she has a passion for education. And I just wanted to acknowledge the effort that it took for her to make such an accomplishment. Thank you very much. Mr. Carpenter, thank you.
Thank you. Just going back on the Golden Apple fundraiser for a moment, a number of us were able to be there, but also we should thank the administration and cabinet that were there working the event and working it to raise that money. So I just wanted to add a shout out to all of them. Thank you.
Mrs. McCall.
Okay, so the rain stopped me from being there. It looked really, really scary as I was turning around. I didn't want to get swept up in a tornado. Otherwise, I would have been there. But I do want to acknowledge we have a couple of students who have been excelling in their sports over the summer. So I can't remember the name of the team, but I know that it's Jordan Hansard. She plays softball for a team at Guilford, and she was the nationwide national MVP because they won a championship. And then there were several other girls wrestling teams that have excelled in their sports this past week. So I just wanted to make sure that we're keeping abreast of our awesome athletes that we have. And that is all. Thank you.
Anyone else? We are now on the last agenda item. Do board members have any board member action steps, other business, new business, or agenda recommendations, or any other matters to discuss? Mrs. Bennett?
Just an action item. I don't know if it's coming maybe next month or the following, but in the month of June, we talked about the teen dating violence policy being on in July. So just as a reminder or action step for future agendas.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. I do want to let you know that Mr. Gallagher met with the high school principals about that topic today, and that was when the meeting was scheduled. So we hope to have something, not this week because the comms team is at the national PR conference. So at next week's board update, we will have some guaranteed deliverables that the principals have committed to, and then we can open up the conversation with the board about any gaps that we need to fill in. Thank you.
I will be reviewing some policies, and I'll be speaking with Dr. Jarrett and Attorney Holtley on. So if it needs to come, be added to the agenda, then it will. Anyone else? If there are no other comments, I'll take a motion in a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a good night.
Wow. 28 minutes. That's a really